Yeah, we'll give khutbahs and all that. Question number 7, please ensure that women in the mosque are able to pray behind the men. Obviously, if there is space in the back of the room, that women are not to be ridiculed for being there or asked to go to the women's room every single time they attend, as we have talked about in the classroom. Okay. Regarding women to certain specific areas, you know what's funny? Masjid Salam fought. Masjid Salam women fought to have a separate area for prayer, and fought that it should be beside men, not behind. This is the funny part when I read this. You know, it's not I'm ridiculing women. No. The funny part is that actually men were more leading the effort of having women beside men. So women at that time, like 20 years ago, they wanted to be beside men and equal to men, not behind them. And they wanted the window that they can see through, and they are in the same line with men. And there was a fatwa given, discussions, I know the history. And advice was, please keep them regular, like in the back, with a door that can be opened so they can be behind. And that was rejected vehemently. Okay? If you go to Masjid Ansar, you know what I mean. When they were building it, I said, keep sliding doors. So whenever I have a session, I said, open the doors. And sisters even can move forward if there are not enough men in that thing. That's okay. In Minnesota, I had a tactical separation. There was not a separate room. It was like a halfway partition. So if the women is standing, it's up to their waist. But if they are sitting, it is up to their foreheads. And then there is a glass halfway that they can see through. And it has wheels. So it can move forward, backward, sideways, this way, that way. And that is the best way. That's my opinion. But now when you live in the community, the bigger the community, the harder for me to enforce my opinion. You have a council, you have women this, you have women that. And sometimes because they cannot agree, then something enforced which is drastic, which is harsh. Okay, so I'm just telling you the history, and I'm telling you the background of politics as well. I wish I have that authority. You think I have sometimes, but I don't. And you want this? There's a group of women also on the other side of the extreme. Women have to be separate. Women have to be alone. Why men did this? There are people like that, and you will be surprised with the number. So it would be a civil war in the masjid. Don't think because you are able to speak and post this in my class, that means you are speaking on behalf of the majority of the women. Not necessarily those women come to the masjid, but they will come when things like that happen. There are women in the community who feel that they should not be in the masjid. Women, not their husband. There are women who feel that they're supposed to be in the masjid, but they are not happy with the thing being beside. And there are women who wants to be in the masjid, with the men. And this is the minority. This is you guys, the minority. My students, those who we say to the men, come this side and sit in the... So I wanted you to understand that issue here. I don't have no issue with that, by the way. And I can talk. And in all my classes, I tell the sisters, please come forward here. Brothers, come this way. But not normally like that. There's sometimes a class in the back, sometimes when somebody praying sunnah. And there will be always someone ridiculing you. Someone ridiculing you because you're coming actually to the masjid. If they can, they will. And some ridiculing you because you are not dressed the way they think that you're supposed to be dressed. Somebody ridiculing you because you are coming to the prayer hall for the men. Somebody ridiculing you no matter what. So please, stop pointing fingers, work on yourself. How are you going to gain the knowledge? Regardless. Don't make like, if I do not sit with the same hall where Sheikh Mamdouh giving the lectures, I'm not a good Muslimah and I'm not learning anything. Why you do that? Deal with what you have and work for more. and stop complaining. Sorry to say, stop complaining, stop being a victim. Always, sisters, you are better than that. I'm not saying that this question comes from you, but I'm telling you to say to whoever behind and whoever give you questions and whoever you know, you are much, much better than that. Even if you take the classes only online, you're still more powerful. Do not live the victim cycle. It's so bad that you will always find someone to blame for whatever you are not doing. And that's what I said, set goals and work on your own education. Learn from behind the partition until you'll be able to raise children to build a masjid with no partition. It doesn't have to be you who achieve things. Yeah. At a recent funeral prayer in our masjid, the body of an elderly uncle was brought in for viewing and placed in the back of the main hall. The elderly widow sees the person's sisters, daughters, daughter-in-law, and other ladies of the family were in attendance. Within 5 minutes or so, the gentleman from the funeral home stepped up and asked the ladies to leave the main room. They were all in shock and deep in mourning, yet they weren't allowed to stay. Half the women got scared and went to the women's section. The other half didn't know what to do or say. Then 2 more men came up to the women again and asked them to leave. There was more than enough room for everyone to remain in the area, and they joined the Salat al-Janazah. Still more men came to ask the women to leave. By what authority do men in our masjid order women around and determine how and where they may stay and pray? Why is it so difficult for our men to simply mind their own business and focus on their own effort? So it is the business of women to be liberal, to be free, to be leaders, to tell men what to say and what not to say. It's okay. It is okay for the women to talk like that, but not okay for men to say, well, this is a men's prayer hall. This is how it is assigned. And this is how it is designated, men's prayer hall. So when a man saying to the woman, go to your prayer area, they are not actually practically saying anything wrong. I'm not talking here from a male perspective or Islamic or anything. This is men's prayer hall. Women have their own prayer hall. End of story. Now, to accommodate you to come to the men's prayer hall, there have to be a reason. I'm talking again logically. There have to be a reason. You being there is the exception. It's not like you have the right to be there and somebody is kicking you out. What if a man goes to the women's prayer hall? Is that okay? We're equal, right? Oh, but what if a woman is not dressed properly? Why give yourself rights more than men then? Can I, Imam, go just open the door and go to the sisters area? Why women want to have their own thing plus step into the men's own thing? Like why? Who give you that right? I'm not talking to you again. I'm talking about whoever, anything. Who also give you that right to order men around and say what is your right? Who give you that right to come and state like what you can and what you cannot do? And viewing the mayit is not a sunnah, by the way. And it's not a sunnah for women to mix with men. When you find men crowded in one area, you as a woman supposed to separate yourself, not go there and prove yourself. And that's where we suffer, like if I speak like that, that means I become a misogynist. Ala tool, the label is ready. You are someone who's against women. No, wallahi, a woman is my wife, is my mother, 4 sisters, I have 3 daughters. What are you talking about? I'm against women, yani. Actually, if somebody would speak for women, it would be me. Yeah, it would be me. And I have 2 brothers and 4 sisters. I have 3 daughters and 3 sons. I have 1 mother, and I have a wife. And that wife has a mother, and that's like 3 more sisters. And I'm surrounded by women. And if someone will speak about women, speak about me, but I speak truth. Yani, Islamically speaking, the woman It's not supposed to. It is wrong that always she has to come where the men is to prove herself. It is not sunnah. Sunnah is opposite. You have to have hayat. It is not like you are withdrawing or you are less than a man. No, you're not supposed to mingle where men are. I go to the graveyard and I find women wanted to jump into that. Okay, you want to go in the gasket as well? Subhanallah, this is the only thing left. You want us to step back and you do the burial yourself? Yeah, yes. Some women will actually say that if I ask that question. I'm sure of it. Problem is not that women want to be equal to men. No, women want to be men. Like they want to rule. And I'm not talking about the good women who are struggling for women's rights. No. I'm seeing this women's dominance. It's not women's rights anymore. So what we are doing, what are we doing? Reverse, evil by evil. Men are transgressing. So we have women to transgress. This is the only way. Yeah, we're going to show them how. Like why it is so difficult for men to simply mind their own business? You are their own business. If I see my wife doing that, it is my own business to tell her, move out. That's my own business. If it is my daughter, I'll tell her, no, you cannot view this when men around in men's prayer hall. Go to your place. That's my business, actually. Minding my business is to tell you to go. I know you're not happy with my answer, but that's the right thing. If I am the imam there, I would say in the mic, sisters, this is not your place to view over here. You could have done it at home or at the funeral home, not in the masjid here, not in the musalla where men pray. Please move out. And you proved the point. They started mourning and crying. And that's exactly why scholars prohibited women from participating in the funeral and going, in the graveyard. It is not fard on you. It is not even sunnah for women to pray janazah. It's not sunnah for women to come in the masjid. It's not sunnah for women to attend the jama'ah prayer. It's not sunnah for women to come for Friday. All of these things are extras. So do not come here and talk to me about men trying to do their fard, you trying to do your extra, and you are not happy that telling you this is extra, please let us do our fard, And it's not their business. No, it is their business, actually. I'm sorry, but all these questions, I was, telling you that you are right about women. But in this question, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're not supposed to be in men's prayer hall when there is a big congregation. See, I am the same one who told you when there is a lecture or there is not enough people praying, yes, you can come in the main prayer hall and, pray or attend the lecture. I'm not fully for the prayer because, men come in and look and this and that, and you are not supposed to be looked at by men when you are praying. You're not supposed to be, because your aura is different from men's aura. You're going to make sujood, your behind is going to be up, and this is not going to be nice. Praying in the same area where men keep coming in, they come late. It's not like all men, like at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they pray at the same time and they don't look behind them. And the women were behind them. And then they will sit quietly until the women leave. Women now don't want to leave. So the whole issue is messed up. So if yes, men come before the takbir and women come behind them, because this is what happened. Women do not come early for salah. They wait until men are completely there and the iqamah is happened, then women enter. And then when the men finish, assalamu alaikum, the women run. Sahih al-Bukhari say that. They run, they leave the masjid before the men look behind. And the Prophet asked them not to look behind. Now, are we going to apply that? No. The women actually want to come and mix, mingle and dress properly, have perfume, have their dubattas back and have extend their legs in the prayer hall. I'm sorry, and I'm very honest. And that's what they want. Even one won't do that. We'll destroy it for everybody. She's not dressed properly. She's not having the right attitude. She's coming there to show off that I am here like you guys. If Sheikh Mamdouh actually asked me to come, I'll sit beside him too. Extend our legs and to talk and all of that. And you want to come and do that? No. If you want to do it, let's apply it exactly the same package. So when we are saying this, it's more of an accommodation. It's not a duty. It is more of accommodation. I can actually tell you there are men who will have fitna if any woman comes there. So to save the fitna, please stay in your room. And that's 100% Islamic. You see? But I tell men, move. What if some youth come and say, Sheikh, there are young girls, they come here, they're not dressed properly, you allow them into the masjid, and I cannot keep my eyes, straight. What should I do now? Women will tell me, okay, this is his problem, Sheikh. Oh, you have the remote, you can turn the channel or you can turn the channel. This is a feminist approach. The Islamic approach, any cause of fitna, if it is easy to be removed, should be removed. And as I said, it is not obligation on you or even sunnah to come to the masjid. It's not an obligation on you or even sunnah to be in congregation prayer. It's not obligation on you or sunnah to come for Friday. It's not obligation on you or sunnah to come for funeral, let alone viewing the body. Stranger woman seeing the face of a man in the coffin. That's not right. I'm not saying it is haram to see the man, but it's causing a bigger problem in the masjid. I will not allow it in the masjid. I, Mamdouh Mahmoud, will not allow this in the masjid. Family, you can view them at your home or at the funeral home. Once come to the masjid, please don't open the casket. And they did a couple of times and I was unhappy. Against my advice. Yeah. Women come in weddings also, we have a problem. They do not respect the masjid at the time of wedding. They are dressed improperly. They have perfumes. They have their hair down. When the salah comes and they take the masjid for pictures, even when the salah is going, the woman is talking in the back as if there is nothing there. And one, ruin it for everybody, as I'm telling you. Masjid is for a place to take pictures. They are not respecting the sanctity of the masjid, and that's women. So please, I want you to talk to this woman as well. Because one ruins it for everybody. The woman who want to learn, the woman who want to be part of the jama'ah, the woman who don't want to be distracted, the woman who's respectful will not have the chance to participate because majority of the women are not making it easy for her. I hope you understand what I said. Me as an imam, I see what women do when you allow them to come to men's prayer hall. I do see that, and this is the majority. In any wedding, you have about 50 women there. 2 or 3 of them are dressed properly and they are willing to respect the masjid. The rest, none, especially younger girls. And they come, they take pictures and all of that, and the men coming, and it all comes to me, Sheikh, what are you doing? Why you allow these women here? What should they say then? You tell me, what should they say then? What should I say? Like, how should I respond to these concerns? Like in the election concern, when women were with skirts or whatever, and they coming for election and they were in the back side of the masjid, I got heat for that. But you know what? I can answer that better than the Muslim sisters who are coming in an Islamic way in the masjid. You get my point here? Like those are non-Muslims and they're coming for election that I have to do, and there's a necessity. We have to know whom you're choosing to represent us in the legal, in the state and the government and all of that. I can have justifications, and they are not coming every day. But what about that sister who say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah and coming and doing all this kind of makeup and coming in the masjid there in a funeral or in a wedding, and she wants and she wants to stand there, and she does not want men to talk to her, and you do not have the right to tell me what to do. I can do whatever I want. Mind your own business. Just go pray over there, and I am the woman. I can do whatever I want. No. And I'm telling you, no. Even if you are right, but you are going to cause a problem, and there are some men who are ignorant or weak for that to save this jama'ah. I'll tell you, sister, it's not a sunnah or a fard or mustahab even, or preferable for you to be here in this masjid. So please step aside. May Allah reward you for coming, for praying and everything, but it's not a fard on you. So if your presence is going to cause a problem, it is better for you Islamically to obey Allah and stay away from it. I'm not saying don't come to the masjid. I'm not saying your presence is not needed. I'm not saying that. I'm teaching a women's class, for God's sake. You're the one who asked for it to be online. Even I wanted it to be in the masjid, in the men's prayer hall, if you remember. I did not want it to be in a room upstairs or anything like that. I give you the whole prayer hall in the front, if you remember, to have this class. and it finished when the Zohar prayer. And people used to talk about it, but I used to make the point. So it's me who's talking to you about this. If I feel that your presence in the men's prayer hall is going to cause fitna, no, I'll tell you, please stay in another room. I myself will tell you that. Why? Because it's not a must on you to be here in the first place. Thank you for being here. I want you to be here. But if your presence and this attitude is going to cause me a problem and a split in my community, no. I want the men who are supposed to be there for the Jama'ah to benefit from that. Okay? So leave this idea of unconditional equality and unconditional blah, blah, blah away from you. We are Muslims. We abide by Islam. As we said about the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. You want the rights of the woman, you have to understand the rights of the men. You want your place, you know men's place. You want to be like Aisha, you have to see how the Prophet dealt with her and how Aisha behaved. Right? So everything we do, it's because the change in our life, in our culture. It's not because Islam says this or that. No, it's all of this is more of adjustment to the new situations. Yeah, I know it's hard, but I know you understand me. This class is my favorite sisters, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, we did 9 questions or 8. I think we did 8. Any other questions? Because you know, I finished this 8 questions here. So any other questions, sisters?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. This is your favorite sister, Anjalani.
Alaikum salam.
I take the liberty, please. I just wanted to recognize the effort and the time and the knowledge that you have shared with us is phenomenal. Jazakallah khair for your time and for expressing it in such lovely terms and being honest about what's right and what one should expect from each other and to look into yourself first. I agree with you 100%. I also took the liberty of asking all the 8 questions, just in case you thought the last one was only mine.
I don't know who asked, actually.
I did, all of them.
Oh, mashallah.
It's just because these things that are some, you know, our sisters are.
Yes, you're representing a large segment of the community. I know that.
Alhamdulillah, I tried to. But I am not a feminist. I just wanted to confirm that you know I'm trying to understand women's position as it relates to women in other faiths. Let me just be clear about that. And I think that Islam gives women the freedom and the ability to be equal but different, if you might say. Okay, but other faiths do not. In Christianity, the woman is definitely lesser than the man. Right. In Judaism, it's even worse.
And but not the original divine, by the way. It's not.
Pardon?
It's not the original divine message.
No. As it's practiced today.
Right.
Right. So you know that's my passion, is understanding how women were elevated through Islam. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'm not asking for equality, but I am asking for kindness, for the gentlemen to be kind in how they ask and be respectful of elders and also be kind in their way and their messaging to the youth and to women. And I completely understand your concern about young women and showing up inappropriately dressed and so on. That is, I completely agree with you on that. I think you're doing an awesome job in managing the keeping the balance between everyone. It is not an easy position. I would not wish to be in your place. This is very.
It's not easy. Well, that's not easy. I wish people can shadow me to just watch.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. And then you have been studying for your PhD as well, and then you have the ability to cross the bridges between being an American and an Islamic and an Imam, and in the same various many different hats. Um, I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. I think some things were perhaps assumed that women would want to join men at Juma. There's no desire to do that, and completely understand that it's not sunnah for women to be at Juma. And but I'm talking about, in my last question, is I think where the funeral, the uncle was there, I just felt very unkind for the gentleman to ask the wife to remove herself, and they were elderly people, and they were not wailing, they were silently mourning, and I presumed because the wife was ill and elderly herself, I think she may not have been able to go to the funeral home to view. I don't know for sure, but that seems that may have happened. So just if even then, a little bit of kindness, a little bit of compassion, rather than I'm the man and I can ask you to lead it. I think if you can maintain the balance at our masjid, I would be
Yes,
so utterly grateful.
absolutely. You see, my sister, when I talk about the general guidelines, right? But the idea is there is a miscommunication over here. Miscommunication. This family, this elder lady, someone speaking on her behalf, should have spoken to the organizer of the funeral or the imam of the masjid or the administration about that specific need. If I am there by myself, I would give her that. I will actually tell all the men to move, give her 5-10 minutes to stay with her husband for a little bit, because she's not going to be able to do that at the graveyard, and she was not able to do that at the funeral home. Yeah, I agree. I understand, but that's a specific issue. I cannot make a guideline like all the time. Like, men has to be understanding. There will be somebody popping up who does not know, who does not understand. So the whole idea is those who are responsible are the ones who maintain that balance. Means if somebody talk to me, then I'll come and say, brothers, just that's okay. I'll take care of this. Then that's it. It's over. But now, if nobody like me, if nobody from administration, she did not tell anybody who she is and what she needs, and that was not communicated, then people become their own Islamic representative, and it becomes very hard. It's very hard to control from both sides, men and women. Like, men appoint themselves as the Islamic protector, and the women become defending, and then we have a completely different scenario than what is supposed. So I agree with you. These things should be communicated, and that's one of the things that I proposed to IGH about funeral review. I 50 different points about things like that, like men and women in the funeral home, men and women in the masjid, men and women following the janazah, men and women at the graveyard. Like all of these things, we want to reach to an agreement that it becomes like a guideline for everybody, that everybody is comfortable with. Everybody's comfortable with, because those are the rules for the bigger concern and the betterment of our community. We're going to abide by them, even if they're just our own personal thing. So, for example, for every janazah, when it comes, let the men be in the front and let the family member women watch for 10 minutes, and then they move. Everybody's happy now. You see what I'm saying? So those are the things that I want to do. Like you said, crossing the bridges. I don't want to cut off things. But when I see a problem or a fitna, then you take drastic measurements. You take executive decisions to separate things. It is not like the best I want, but at the same time, I don't want fight. I don't want those issues. I don't want either. But if there is a formula in the middle, I'm happy to do it.
Yes, I agree that I think it could have been handled better. But from my only request is that the funeral home directors and the people, the bearers of that they be understanding of.
Allah, sister, I'll tell you something for their own defense. Not I agree with everything that they do, right? Or I disagree with everything I do. the funeral director, one of the funeral directors, not all of them, and a couple of people there, they came to me. I have a meeting with them about their concern how the women's body is handled, and it should have more than that. And the coroner's office, and there are legal things that we can give more respect to our female deceased women. So they worry about this, but there's culture also come running in their blood. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So we have to understand that as well.
Right.
Until, inshallah, a generation comes that they're born and raised here, right? And they understand. And that's what I'm trying to mentor, a generation. I told you before, a generation who will raise a generation that will bring the leader generation.
Inshallah.
We're trying to do that, but it takes time. And inshallah, you are with me in this effort, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah.